श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुस्साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां भिषजे भवरोगिणां निधे सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभः निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्ये सर्वदा। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। द्वैपायनोष्टपुटनिष्कृतम् अप्रमेयं पुण्यं पवित्रं मदपापहरं शिवं च यो भारतं समधिगच्छति वाच्यमनं किं तस्य पुष्करजले अभिषेकेन योगो शतं कनकशङ्कमिहं ददाति विप्राय वेदविषये च बहुश्रुताय एकाञ्च भारतकथां शृणुयात् समग्रं तुल्यबलं भवति तस्य सस्यजेतिः व्यासं वष्टरप्तारं शक्ते पौत्रमकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं देशकदानं तपोनिधिं व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मणदेवासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। नमो धर्माय महदे नमः कृष्णाय वेदसे ब्राह्मणेभ्यो नमस्कृत्य धर्मान् वक्ष्यामि शाश्वतम्। नमो भगवते तस्मै व्यासाय तदेशस्य प्रसादात् वक्ष्यामि नारायणकथामिमाम्। We were previously looking at day 7 events. I think in the last time when we looked at it, I think I probably made a mistake. If I remember correctly, I think I said we were looking at day 6, completed day 5, and started looking at day 6, but it was day 7 events we were looking. So if you go back at the end of day 4, Duryodhana asks Bhishma why Pandavas are unslayable, why it is they cannot kill him. At that time, Bhishma explains about Vasudeva, the glory of Govinda, and he explains all that. And then in the next day battle, day 5, we look at Arjuna Bhishma battle. Bhishma kills Satyaki's charioteer. And then Abhimanyu Lakshmana battle. Satyaki's sons were killed by Bhurishravas in that day. And then the next day on day 6, Bhima kills Drona's charioteer, so Drona's chariot horses take away from in the battlefield. Duryodhana's brothers surround Bhima, and then Drishtadyumna comes to support Bhima, looking for Bhima. Vikarna was injured by Abhimanyu. Shatanika kills Dushkarna. So those events we looked at on day 6. And then day 7, which we last time looked, which I think I said day 6 last time, so which is actually day 7 we looked at. We completed day 6 and looked at day 7. So we looked at Duryodhana seeking Pandava's death, Arjuna invoking Indravapan, and Susharman and Trigarta king, this Susharman who is Trigarta king supporting Bhishma. Drona kills Shanka in the battle. Satyaki was defeated by Alambusha. Bhima defeats Kratavarman. Bhagadatta Gatotkacha had battle. Shalya battles Nakula Sahadeva and becomes fainted. Shruta has battle with Yudhishthira. We saw that, and he runs away from Yudhishthira. And then Yudhishthira reminds Shakuni, who was running away from the battle from Drona, reminds him of his vow to kill Bhishma. I think we stopped last time previously there, so we'll continue from there. So Shikandini returns to that battlefield, and the battle continues again. He tries to go towards Bhishma, but he was stopped and resisted by other Kaurava warriors. So the battle continues like that. So as he continues, Vinda, they come and they resist him, and then there is a battle takes place between them. And those Vinda coming there, they kill the horses of Shikandini, and then Satyaki comes there and takes Shikandini on his chariot and then rescues Shikandini from Vinda and Anuvinda. Yudhishthira as well, with large number of forces in that battle, he goes against those Vinda and Anuvinda. Similarly, Duryodhana prepares supporting Vinda and Anuvinda in battle, so the battle continues. Arjuna as well in that battle continues, and he fights with Bhishma and Drona as well, so doing what is favorable to Duryodhana. He continues to kill Panchala forces troops on the Yudhishthira side. So like this, the battle continues, and then the day comes towards the end, and then Bhishma instructs Kaurava warriors to withdraw, and then Arjuna as well, having defeated Trigartas, Susharman in that battlefield, they proceed to their tent for the end of that day. So that concludes day 7. Now, after the end of the day 7 battle conclusion, Yudhishthira, Kurus, on the other side, all of them accompanying their troops, their leaders, and everybody, they all sit together, and then Bhima as well, having defeated all those kings and in that battlefield. Uh, he comes there, and similarly, Duryodhana as well headed with his leaders. He gathers around the tents. So then Duryodhana with his troops, Bhishma, everybody together, and Drona, Ashwatthama, Kripa, Shalya, Kritavarman, all of them surrounding that Dhritarashtra army. They all proceeded toward their tent and they take rest there. And similarly, Satyaki, Drishtadyumna, all of them with their army, they go towards their tent. And like this, the a day comes to an end, and then all of them injured, and then they recover from that. So in the evening, they listen to good music, dance, and all those kind of things as an entertainment and recovery process. So it's again, this is a continuous battle. So if they are injured, they don't have a week or month to recover. So next day they have to be prepared both mentally and physically. For that evening, they get all sort of entertainment and whatever they need to recover that mental fatigue they have gone through. So after that, all of them with tired, all of them, both human beings in the battlefield, all the warriors, also the animals used, elephants, horses, all of them, very tired after a day-long battle. They all slept in the night. Then the next day starts, day 8 of the battlefield, where again Pandavas, Kauravas, once again they prepared and they proceed towards the battlefield. And on that day, Duryodhana, Chekitana, Vinsati, they all, and Bhishma, Drona, all of them putting all their armor and protection and everything, preparing their chariots. They go towards Pandavas and they formed an array on that day, they called Sagara, so like a ocean array. So waves after waves, their troops come and attack Pandavas. So like that, they prepared. So they had in that ocean, they had billows for the and the current. They had elephants and horses coming with Bhishma leading that troop, whole army, supported by Malavas and southern countries, tribes and Avantis and all those things supported. And next to him was Drona was there. He was supported by Pulindas, Paradas, Kshudraka, Malavas, all those were there. And next to him, there was Bhagadatta. So again, it's wave after wave coming. So Bhagadatta was accompanied by Magadas, Kalingas, and Pishachas. Behind him, there had Brihadbala, king of Kosala, with Melakas and Tripuras and Chichilas. Next to Brihadbala was Trigarta warriors and ruler of Prasthala, and then with large number of Kambojas, Yavanas, and thousands, they were there. And after that, there is Ashwatthama was there, and then next to Ashwatthama, Duryodhana with the army, with his own army and his brothers, they were sitting, and behind Duryodhana was Kripa was standing. So like this, that array was formed from Kaurava's side, the array in the form of Sagara, ocean format. So seeing this, Yudhishthira instruct his forces and Drishtadyumna specifically saying that look at this array that formed in the form of ocean by Bhishma. So without delay, you also form a counter array. Listening to this, Drishtadyumna forms an array called Shringataka. Shringataka, he forms that array, again that array at the horns of that array shape. It was Bhima was there, and Satyaki with many thousand chariot riders with them, horses and infantry were there. Next to him, there was Arjuna with Krishna, and then in the center, there was Yudhishthira with Nakula Sahadeva, and then there was troops like that. They filled with Abhimanyu, Draupadi's son Virata, Draupadi's sons Drupada, and Gatotkaja. So like this, they formed this counter array, and then desiring the victory, they went with blowing their horns and drums and kettle drums and all those things. They make their way towards that battlefield. So in that battlefield again, once the battle started, arrows, showers started coming from both sides. So there was no let off for any warriors, and all of them started fighting. Bhishma again in that battlefield, he filled the air with arrows and destroying Pandava forces, and Drishtadyumna and Pandava forces on that battle against Bhishma. They continued to fight even when Bhishma was striking like that. So Pandavas were struggling to face Bhishma in that battlefield, and then all the Pandava troops again looking by the command of Yudhishthira, they all still continued to rush towards Bhishma alone to stop him because he was killing all the Panchala forces that was supporting Yudhishthira. So, like he was slaughtering the Panchala forces with Somakas and everybody, and all of them were rushing towards him. So, Bhishma did not stop destroying that large force from Yudhishthira's side coming towards him, and he continues to destroy them. So, again, among Pandavas, nobody could face Bhishma except Bhima. So Bhima in that battle, he goes and resists Bhishma. So nobody could else there in that troops that faced there, they could face. So Bhima went alone against Bhishma, and then he faced up and he challenged Bhishma. Again, we will see many times here, okay, in this battle that Bhima is considered as a very brave archer. Okay, normally when we look at somebody having battle and very skilled in among Pandavas, we talk about Arjuna, right? Arjuna is superior. There is no question, okay, because he has all the divine weapons and everything. But without all those things, even without all those things, Bhima was capable, and we looked at previously him hurting Drona. Okay, again, nobody could face Drona, right? So Bhima was hurting Drona, and here again, Bhima goes and resists him. Okay, so he counters Bhishma. So only Arjuna could do it because he had similar weapons, divine weapons, all those celestial weapons and everything Arjuna had. So he has, and also he's skilled warrior, no question. Okay, not questioning, but generally when we talk about Pandava side and the strength of Pandava side and things like that, Bhima, we just talk about his strength in mace. Okay, but with bow and arrows as well, he's no less compared to Arjuna. Okay, he was able to resist and even strike Bhishma, Drona, and the other warriors on Kuru's side equally as Arjuna used to do, without those celestial weapons as well, right? Without that level of knowledge that Arjuna had from Indra and going to Devloka and Shiva and everybody, he got all those weapons. Without all this, Bhima was fighting. So that is something to note here, because this is not normally talked about how strong, how skilled, not just strength, skilled as well, Bhima in among the Pandavas. So Bhima was battling like this. So during that battle that was taking place, Duryodhana with his brothers, he protected Bhishma from the slaughter that's coming from Bhima and the Pandava side. Then again, Bhima in that battle, he kills Bhishma's charioteer. So again, another example. So if somebody could kill Bhishma's charioteer, that means he is getting better of Bhishma, because if an arrow coming towards that direction, normally the warrior archer would cut that arrow first, right, and then hurt the opposition. So here Bhima was able to kill the Bhishma's charioteer. Then without control of that chariot, it takes away Bhishma from that battlefield. So then Bhima with another sharp arrow, he cuts off Sunaba's head. So like this, Sunaba falls on the ground. Then Duryodhana with his brothers, they all come there, and 7 of Duryodhana's brothers were quickly faced Bhima, and all of them were fighting with Bhima. They were Adityaketu, Bhavasi, Kundadara, Mahodara, Aparajita, Panditaka, and Vishalaksha. So all of them uh, come there, and first Mahodara, he strikes Bhima with 9 arrows, and then Adityaketu strikes him with 7, Bhavasi strikes with 5, Kundadara with 90, and Vishalaksha with 7. Like this, they all strike, and then Aparajita strikes with many arrows as well. So, and Panditaka with 3 arrows strikes at Bhima. But Bhima, quietly bearing all those coming towards him and facing all those arrows, he again takes his bow and strongly cuts off all those arrows, and then he cuts off with a straight arrow, he cuts off the head of Aparajita. So one more down from Duryodhana's brothers list, Aparajita dies, and his head falls on the ground. Then next, again, Bhima with another broad arrow, he cuts off Kundadara, and then he sends Panditaka to Yama's place. Then he cuts Vishalaksha's head, and then he cuts off Mahodara. He pierces him in the chest with arrow with Mahodara's chest, and then he cuts off the with an arrow he cuts off the umbrella of Adityaketu, and with another arrow, broad-headed arrow, he cuts off the head of Adityaketu. Like this, Bhima continues, and he in another arrow he sends Bhavasi to death, and then like this he kills those brothers of Duryodhana, and Duryodhana seeing all his brothers killed by Bhima like that, he becomes very angry, and then he urges all his troops saying that there is Bhima, let's go and kill him. So he becomes very angry, and he urges everybody come and attack Bhima. So like this, Duryodhana and his brothers, they all but listening to what Vidura has previously said, remembering all those words that Bhima would kill all of them, they all become very much worried. But again, Duryodhana still urges all of them to go and fight with Bhima and try to kill Bhima. Meanwhile, Duryodhana, with sorrow, grief from loss of his brothers through Bhima in that, he rushes to Bhishma, and then he goes and tells him that my brothers have been killed by Bhima. Although our troops are fighting bravely, yet they are failing. You looks like you are going to disregard us, and it is not good for you to act like a spectator in this battle. So look at my destiny. Even having you, Drona, Kripa, everybody here, Ashwatthama, everybody, my brothers are getting killed. So he again cries in front of Bhishma, blaming Bhishma for not doing enough. And Bhishma listening to this, he was filled with tears listening to that harsh words from Duryodhana, even though Bhishma was trying his best and doing everything. He says that I have told you all this before, and Drona, Vidura, Gandhari, everyone told you all this, but you did not listen any of that. So it has been told by me before that neither myself nor Drona will escape from death in this battlefield. So we all going to die from the hands of Pandavas. Again, I tell you this definitely that Bhima, whoever Bhima looks at, he definitely will kill them. So that's how strong Bhima is. So if you want, it is not too late. Go and make peace with Pandavas. Otherwise, continue with battle. Okay, thinking about heaven alone, Swarga alone, from there you attain from this battle. So thinking about that, single-minded, go and have the battle. This grief is not good. So Bhishma instructs him and sends Duryodhana back. Dhritarashtra, listening to this, again cries about loss of his sons, and he again takes that this is destiny as much as we are very strong. This is happening, And he cries like that Duryodhana did not listen to any advice that given by Drona, Bhishma, Vidura, everybody. He did not listen. Gandhari also said all those things, but he did not listen to any of that. Bhima is in anger. He's going to kill my sons, all my sons, and he's going to kill all of them. And Sanjay again once again reminds him every time Dhritarashtra opens his mouth, just like previous times, he again reminds him that you did not understand whatever everyone said. You did not listen to any of that. Vidura again told many times that stop that game of dice in that uh, dice hall. So you did not listen. Again, when the time comes, uh, if people ill refuse the medicine when the time comes, that's what happens. So they have to die. So similarly, you did not, like a ill man refusing to receiving the medicine, you did not listen to the counsel you received at that time. So Kauravas now, that's why they are being destroyed with deservingly for not accepting the words of Vidura, Drona, Bhishma, and all the well-wishers. So these are the causing consequences that happened even when you, because you declined to listen to all those counsels that received. So, but now there is no time to dwell on all those things. So listen to what happened in the battlefield. So at midday, so the battle again continued in that battlefield, and Sanjaya continues his narration. So he says that all the Pandava army, they excited in anger and they rushed towards at command of Yudhishthira. They all again rushed towards Bhishma, with making him as the only uh, aim and desiring to kill him. So Drishtadyumna, Chikandini, Satyaki, with their forces, they went against Bhishma alone, and then Virata, Drupada, and the Somakas, that is Drupada's warriors with all his troops, they went against Bhishma alone. Kaikeya, Drishtaketu, Kunti Bhoja, all of them went against Bhishma again. Arjuna with Draupadi's sons, Chekitana, all of them again, they proceeded against Duryodhana and his brothers. And then Abhimanyu with Ghatotkacha and Bhima, they rushed against other troops of Kaurava. So they divided themselves into three groups. So the one group with Satyaki, Shikandini, Drishtadyumna, Drupada, Virata, Kaikeya, Drishtaketu, Kunti Bhoja, all these, they went against Bhishma. And then Arjuna, Draupadi's sons, Chekitana, they went against Duryodhana and his brothers, who were again, obviously, they had other Duryodhana with Kritavarma and Krupa and others protecting him, supporting him. So they went against them. And then Abhimanyu, Ghatotkacha, Bhima, they went against all the other warriors on the Kaurava side. So like this, they divided themselves into three bodies and then they started fighting and destroying Kaurava force. So Drona, in that battlefield, he went against Panchala forces, Somaka, Srinjayas, he went against them, and then they all started running away from Droda, filled with fear. Then similarly, Bhima as well, he very angrily, he was destroying Kaurava troops and that's coming against him and sending them to Yama's place. So Bhima again in that battlefield, he comes upon elephant division of Kauravas and start destroying that elephant division with his arrows, and he starts killing them one after another, cutting off their trunks and with their elephants again, those huge elephants with their trunks cut off, limbs mangled, injured and struck, injured. They all screaming like cranes and things like that. They started falling down on the earth. Nakula Sahadeva again went against the cavalry troops of cavalry of Kauravas again because they are skilled in horse riding and horse lore. So that's why Nakula Sahadeva went in that direction. So they again killed in hundreds and thousands of those Kaurava warriors. Similarly, Arjuna in that battlefield, he went against all the Kauravas, remaining Kauravas, and he had in the battlefield. Like this, Kauravas suffered. Similarly, Pandava's side as well suffered on the whole hands of Bhishma, Drona, Ashwatthama, Kripa, Kritavarman, and everybody. Pandava's side as well, troops suffered heavy losses through Bhishma, Drona, Ashwatthama, Kripa, Kritavarman, Shalya, and others. Meanwhile, Iravat, who is Arjuna's son, uh, comes in that battle. He goes in that battlefield. He was commanded by Arjuna, and he says that previously when he met him in Swarga, when Arjuna went to Swarga, at that time Iravat comes there, and Arjuna had instructions from him that I'll take your support, assistance when the battle takes place. And said, here now he comes in that battlefield and he starts facing the Gandhara troops. So he has battle with Shakuni and the Gandhara troops. So again, six brothers from Gandhara side: Gaya, Gavaksha, Vrishava, Charmavat, Arjava, Shuka. They all rush against Iravat, supported by Shakuni and his forces. So they all come and have battle with Iravat. Again, Iravat happily has those battle, and he continues to have that battle with the Gandharas, and Shakuni he again addresses his own troops that following him, the Naga troops that coming with him. He addresses them saying that make sure that the Dhritarashtra forces are, and they all destroyed in this battle, so they all attack. So Shakuni, with his troops, he attacks with his warriors, and they attack Iravat with lances. Many lances they attack, and Iravat, even though pierced by those lances, blood trickling down from his wounds, he still continued to battle in that against Shakuni and others. And then him jumping down from his chariot, he strikes Shakuni in that battlefield. Then, with a polished sword and shield in his hand, he rushes on foot towards Shakuni. So Shakuni, again recovering from that injury Iravat has caused, and they again start battling again. So at that time, they continue to battle. Iravat continues to battle like that, and then while Gandhara forces were getting destroyed like that, Duryodhana looks at Alambusha, the Rakshasa on his side, who is supporting him. So he tells him, and then he says that look at this Arjuna's sign. He's well versed in illusion as well because he's from Naga. So he's destroying the forces. Go and support. And Alambusha agrees. So again, one thing here to note is Mahabharata here mentions Alambusha as Rishishringa's son. Okay. Rishishringa, you all probably heard story previously. Remember from Vanaparva, right? Anyone remembers? So Rishishringa, he was born of a deer from a rishi, right? So he had horns on his head, and that Rishishringa finally went and married a princess, right? So he was raised up in a forest without knowledge of any woman and things like that. So go back to Vanaparva and listen to that again if you want to. So here it mentions Rishishringa's son, but again, multiple times in this Kurukshetra war, we see mention of Rishishringa's son Alambusha. Okay, but it does not clearly mention whether the Rishishringa mentioned here is the Rishishringa we looked at in Vanaparva, and if it is the case, why a Rakshasa was born to Alambusha. And I searched many places, but I could not find anywhere. All we'd come across is Rishishringa's son Alambusha. I could not find why there are the two questions. One is whether Alambusha is the son of the Rishishringa we looked at previously, who married Shanta, is Rama's sister. All right. So whether this the same Vidambaka Maharshi's son, Rishishringa, whether it's the same Rishishringa, and if it is the same Rishishringa, then why a Rishi's son became a Rakshasa. Okay, so that's again is not clear. Don't get any stories in Mahabharata about that beyond what we saw in the Parva and mentioning of Rishishringa's name here. And also I looked at quite a few Puranic encyclopedia and things like that, but I could not find anywhere. So let's continue with the story. So Duryodhana instructs Alambusha here, and Alambusha was angry with Pandavas because he was friend with Baka, and Bakasura was killed by Bhima. Hopefully you all remember from Adi Parva when Bhima took a cart full of food which was for Baka and he killed him, right? And then ate all the food. So he was friend of Alambusha was friend, and because Bhima killed, so he had that enmity. So he comes to the battlefield. So Iravat and Alambusha, they started fighting each other, and the battle takes place between both of them with various weapons and illusions and things like that. So Iravat faces up to Alambusha's large amount of Rakshasa force that coming, and Iravat destroys that entire Rakshasa force that coming towards him, and all of them were destroyed. And Iravat again, when again those Alambusha comes near him, he cuts off Alambusha's bow, but again Alambusha using illusion, he disappears. So like this, the battle continues between them. So Alambusha again, many times he cuts off, Iravat cuts him off, but again Alambusha comes back through his illusion. He is not dead, he comes back again. Whatever the part he cuts, he comes back. Iravat, very angry again, cuts again with sharp axe, but Rakshasa again, even though he's cut off, he comes back again to life. So like this, the battle continues, and then in that battlefield, the Nagas from Iravat's mother's side, they come to aid of Iravat. Even those Nagas were consumed and destroyed by Alambusha. So assuming a form of Garuda, he destroys all of them, all those snakes that came to fight there to support Iravat. So when all his mother's side Nagas, everybody was killed, destroyed by a Garuda like that, Iravat becomes very much confounded. He was thinking what's happening, and in that moment when he was confused and confounded and thinking like that what's happening, at that time Alambusha cuts Iravat with his sword. He cuts him off. So like that, Iravat with his head falls on the ground, and Iravat died. So Arjuna's son Iravat died in that battlefield, and then all the Dhritarashtra side, they become very happily, they start jumping, but on the Pandava side, they become very sad, and warriors become very much afraid of what happened. Arjuna, meanwhile, without knowing that his son has been killed, he continues fighting with Bhishma, and again he continues to battle in that with Bhishma. Bhishma also, even though he was injured by Arjuna, he continues to fight and causing troubles to killing large amount of Pandava army in that battlefield. So Bhishma was fighting like that, and then Bhima and Bhima then goes there against Bhishma, and in that battlefield again, Satyaki also comes there, and they all come and start having battle with Bhishma. And seeing again, the Drona, on the other hand, he was battling on the other side, and seeing him again, Pandavas with all those, even though Bhishma was fighting, Pandavas could resist, but Drona was causing so much trouble for Pandavas, it is very difficult to face up to him. And all of them thought Drona alone could kill and destroy the entire Pandavas army. So the Pandavas were scared like that. So nobody could face up to him, and he was striking fear in Pandavas. So Dhritarashtra, listening to this, he asks Sanjay again, tell me, what did Arjuna do when he heard about Iravata's death? So Sanjay says that Iravat killed in that battle. Seeing him killed like that, Ghatotkacha comes there and he starts having battle with Alambusha, and he becomes very huge in size, and he starts roaring, and hearing his voice, immediately Kauravas started fearing and then running away. And then, assuming terrible form, again blazing with a blazing spear in his hand, he starts killing the Kaurava warriors. Then Duryodhana rushes towards Ghatotkacha with support of Vangas and 10,000 elephants coming towards him. Ghatotkacha single-handedly battles with all those things, and he destroys that elephant division coming towards him, and he battles the Vangas and the troops that Duryodhana has brought. So Duryodhana and Ghatotkacha, like this, they battle with each other. Duryodhana rushes towards Ghatotkacha in anger, and again he strikes him with large number of arrows. But Ghatotkacha, even though injured by Duryodhana, he continues like this. So continues to battle Duryodhana and his troops. So with his with very angrily, Duryodhana kills with 4 arrows 4 principal Rakshasas who were there with Ghatotkacha, Vegavat, Maharudra, Vidyutjiva, and Pramati. So he kills for those 4 Rakshasas who were there with Ghatotkacha, and once again, Ghatotkacha very angrily, seeing those killed, he becomes very angry, and drawing up a huge bow, he rushes towards Duryodhana, and then he says that I will kill you today. You had caused so much trouble to my father, my mother. Draupadi had to go through all the trouble in the forest, and then her disrobing in that sabha, and he remembers all those trouble that Pandavas were caused, and also Draupadi is kidnapped by Jayadratha, and he reminds all those things and says that I'm going to kill you today. Saying this, he, for Duryodhana's destruction, he releases that arrow which was destined to kill Duryodhana in that battlefield. But as the arrow was coming through, he was about to release. At that time, Bhagadatta comes there on his elephant. He comes there and places himself in between, and also King of Vangas, he comes there with an elephant, huge elephant. He comes there and places them. They place themselves before Duryodhana to protect Duryodhana. And then the arrow that Ghatotkacha released goes and strikes Vanga king's elephant, and it destroys that elephant, and the king jumps down from that elephant. So even though they all defeated in that battlefield, they stood firm and they continued to fight Ghatotkacha in that battlefield. So seeing Ghatotkacha fighting like that, destroying all that elephant force and whatever that force coming towards him, Bhishma instructs Drona, saying that this Rakshasa is destroying the troops and Duryodhana is being stuck there, and we should protect Duryodhana. So he's hearing this. They all rush towards Duryodhana to protect him. So again, Somadatta's son, Balika, Jayadratha, Kripa, Bhurishrabha, Shalya, and Avanti is Vinda, Anavinda, Bruhadbala, Ashwatthama, Vikarna, Chitrasena, Vinsati, and many other chariot riders. All of them come towards Duryodhana to rescue him. So like this, the warriors come there, and the battle then takes place between Ghatotkacha and all those warriors. So the the battle then continues between them uh, with uh, with large arrow. He cuts off Somadatta's standard, and then he strikes at Balika, and then he pierces Kripa and Chitrasena with 3 arrows, and Vikarna in the shoulder joint like this. He fights, and then he starts fighting Bhurishrava, Ashwatthama, Jayadratha, and things like that, Avandi princes and Brihatbala and things like that. So the battle continues with Ghatotkacha and these Kuru warriors. So we'll look at what happens to Ghatotkacha in that battle next time when we gather.